Hey everyone, how's it going? This is TJ, the host of Friday's the New Monday, and welcome today. We've got Hannes, your bat, and Nolan Hunter. And these are mates that I met. Guys, when did we meet? Almost about a year ago or so.
Yeah, yeah, it was about June, July last year.
July
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And these guys, when I did meet them at that time, it was out at some kind of a networking session. And for some of us who don't know what a networking session is, just basically where like-minded people meet, and kaboom! I met Hannes and Nolan. We were exchanging business cards, and we've been following each other since then. So yeah. So welcome, guys. Hannes, I'm going to start with you. How's it going?
No, thank you very much for inviting us to your podcast. Really appreciate it. It's going well. Thank you.
Cool. And Nolan?
Yeah, and hopefully we can be of some use to other people listening, and they can learn from what we've done, and maybe also learn from some of our mistakes. So, yes, thanks a lot.
Good stuff. So gents, where you guys from? I mean, when we met, that was in July, and already we just hit it off with, talking about properties. And as time continued, we started having other conversations. But Nolan, where you from, and how did you jump into to property?
So I'm from Johannesburg.
Yeah,
I was born in Johannesburg. I lived there for most of my life,
yeah,
and then I was overseas for a while with work, and then now currently I'm living in Centurion.
yeah.
And my main interest started when I actually built our current house. I project managed the whole building of the house, and at that time I decided, yes, or not decided, I thought to myself, you know what, I can actually do this full time. But and then a few years went by, and then I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and then I decided, no, now I have to get into this, and that's where my journey started. And that was about probably about 2 years ago, when I made a decision that I'm going to start in property, or buy more properties, and start a property portfolio.
Great. So you speak about project management on your guys' house that you were building. You married,
Yeah.
wife and kids?
Yes, I'm married with two kids.
Yeah.
We've been married for 10 years already.
Oh,
And
congratulations.
thanks. Yeah, so things are hectic. It's difficult to manage everything.
Yeah.
But yes,
All
we
right.
do
Cool.
it.
I just want to zoom in terms of what do you mean by project management? When you're building, what does it mean to project manage?
Okay, so what we did is we basically bought our stand,
Yeah.
and then we found a builder that could build for us. I didn't do the building physically myself, but I had to manage the builder. We had to select materials, what we wanted to put into the house, finishes. We designed the house. We got an architect to do all the drawings for us.
Yeah.
So we basically did everything except for the physical labor that we did at the house.
Okay. Cool.
So all the financials, budgets, all of those things. So that's basically, it's a whole project that we managed.
Is your wife or you? Do you guys have any formal background of project management? And what just made you to go into project manage? I mean, I don't know, Hannes, would you just go out, wake up and go and project manage building a house?
So, and I think that's kind of where us we're fortunate in terms of strengths. My background, in projects that I had to run, also allowed for some project management, working with people, and I also enjoy it. So it was quite a natural fit in terms of managing the project, managing the people, and just making sure, when we do have opportunities that you're close to the project as possible. I think that's a key thing.
Cool. And Hannes, where you from?
So yes, also born in Johannesburg.
Yeah.
I grew up on a small holding in the Fourways area.
What do you mean in a small holdings in the Fourways area? Everything in Fourways is almost like a cluster and a town.
I know, but that was back in the day. I'm a Madala.
Yeah. Okay.
So no, so I grew up in Johannesburg. I also I went traveling a bit.
Yeah.
Came back, found actually a property that I bought. I've always been interested in property, but I was looking at the sheriff auctions or auction properties, and I just I never had the skill set to be able to understand or to know which triggers to look for to buy.
Yeah.
So I kept that on the back burner and I continued with my career. And then sometime later, I came across also the Rich Dad Poor Dad book, which I read. And then I saw
who wrote the Rich Dad Poor Dad, guys? You guys have mentioned the book. Who's the author there?
Kiyosaki.
Yeah.
Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I came across a free seminar which was endorsed by Robert, but it was through the Legacy company.
Where did you meet up with this seminar? Where was it? What channel was it? Is it online, a newspaper?
It came across my Facebook feed.
Okay, cool.
I saw it, and I think I forwarded it to Nolan, and he was also keen to go.
Yeah.
And we went to go and listen to this to Leroy, and what he was talking about made a lot of sense. And as I mentioned, I was positive towards property. It does make sense for me. So the information that he shared with us was very much in tune with what I knew, and it just it made sense. So it was easy to sign up for the course, and that just gave me also the tools to understand in terms of property what to look for, just some background and just some education on property itself.
Great stuff. So it's amazing that the three of us, we are all sort of like the products of Robert Kiyosaki. I mean, I'm a big follower of Robert Kiyosaki. I'm currently reading the book, Why the Rich. I think it's called Why the Rich Continue Being Rich or something like that. Getting Richer. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that book has just opened up my mind. And 7 years ago, I also read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I didn't finish it, and until I got married, and my wife bought it and gave it to me, and I said, "Hey, I've read this book, but I didn't finish it." And when I read it, and this time round, in about I think 4 hours, I was able to read it start to finish, and I just started taking action at that time. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think
that's the big thing, eh?
Sorry, Hannes, continue.
Sorry, I mean, you can read all the books, which gives you knowledge, but if you don't take action, that is the critical point.
That's it. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So let's jump on into. I mean, we now kind of like fairly know all of us where we stand, and so it also sounds like we have kind of like journeyed in the same way of training and having the education. I always meet people and tell them, get a little bit of basics of education. Don't just start this thing. And now I see the two of you now, you're almost married to the hip with the thinking part, right? and, and, and
I think
I think my wife would like that if you say.
Yeah, no. Probably married to the head, if you really want to use that analogy.
Yeah. So in terms of knowledge, the two of you are intertwined. You speak the same language. How did you become partners then? Were you friends before that?
Nolan?
So in terms of partnership, because you guys, when I met you,
Yeah.
you were already partners. I mean, how did you guys become
Yeah.
partners?
So we actually school friends, and from when we were friends at school.
Yeah.
After school, our paths went different ways. I went traveling when I came back. Nolan went traveling. We always kept in contact, but I mean, it wasn't. We didn't really think that this partnership would take place. But I think the big thing is, we both were interested in property, and I think that common denominator just brought us together in terms of business.
Cool.
And I think it's strange how it happened, because I mean, that book almost almost during the same period, without even knowing it. And then when he invited me to that seminar, I was like, "What? I didn't know you read the book the other day and that you're interested in all of that." And I'm like, and he was like, "Yes, I am." So I was like, "No, wait, let's look at this further." And we went the first step was the course. We said, "Okay, let's do the course together." And then, it started evolving from there.
Yeah. But we also, before we went into partnership, we really discussed, the pros and cons of a business partnership. And we looked at all angles to make sure that we are in it for the same reasons or right reasons, whichever that might be for, and that aligns. So, and I think with that aligning and us being in business for the same type of goal, that makes a huge difference. Also, we looked at what happens, if anything would go sour, and so you need to be very careful with, I think, who you go in partnership with, and goal setting and being having the same objective is extremely important.
And also, I think to add to that, also you need to have the same value system.
Yeah.
If you have the same values, you want different things as well, and then there's a lot of friction that comes from that. So I think because we've been in school and we've been, we went to school together, and that we've known each other for so many years, that helped. So our values are very aligned, and that's been very helpful. And we've got a different, as Hannes mentioned earlier, we've got a different skill set. So that also, it complements, we both complement each other, I think, at the end of the day. So what I don't know, Hannes knows. What he doesn't know, I know. That kind of thing,
So at a high level, guys, without jumping into the detail, in terms of values, what do you consider to some of the values that marry the two of you? In a practical way.
Yeah. So I think, well, from just the first one is to be financially free, and being able to build a legacy for our families,
Great. Nolan,
I
go
think
ahead.
as we both come out of Christian families. Our upbringing was very similar. I think that helps. So the cultures are the same, and those things are actually very important. So and then also, yeah, I mean, we want to provide for our families. That's our main objective. That's almost like our why. And if that's not the same, yeah, I think that's not going to work well.
No.
Yeah. You guys speak of Christian backgrounds and so on. Where do you guys worship now? Nolan, where do you guys worship?
So we've got a church here in Midstream that I go to, Doxadea.
Yeah.
But originally I used to go to Mosaic there in near the MTN building on 14th Avenue.
Yeah. That's close to where I stay. And Hannes?
Okay.
I'm at Mosaic. Funny story. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I think I need to owe it to myself to invite you guys to a men's conference. I'm at Rivers Church, and
I know Rivers. Yes, I've gone a few times.
you've been there before, and
Yeah.
we do cool stuff on a men's conference that we have once a year, and
Awesome.
I just want to have other people that think like me to also be worshiping at the same time. So one on me, I'll invite you guys and I'll let you know. I think the next one that's coming up is March. Yeah. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Cool. And would you be keen to come to Mosaic? We've got an English pastor that also does sermons. So
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
that would be awesome.
Yeah. Cool. Right. So let's jump into the properties, guys. What have you guys done of late in the last maybe 6 months? What have you done? Is there a project that you guys have worked on? Have you put money into the bank? How's it going?
Okay, so in the last 6 months, yeah, we've done a refurb, bought a property, done a refurb, renting it out.
What's a refurb, Nolan?
So it was a property that was very run down, so we had to do a lot of renovations.
Yeah.
We took out a lot of tiling. We basically redid the whole place.
Where did you guys find this refurb?
So we were working on this for a long time. Actually, it started with another unit in the same complex we actually viewed this unit first.
With this one.
Yes, yeah. Sorry, and then it fell apart. The
deal.
owner wasn't interested in our offer. The estate agent was useless, so we left it. But when I think it wasn't even a month after.
I thought I'm the only one who meets up useless estate agents. They're not just supportive of you, are they?
No. Yeah. Then I think then there was another unit that we're looking at, which an old man was living in, and it was literally like, I think a week after it was listed, we didn't realize it was listed already. I told Hannes, you know what? I think we should look at this property, try and contact this guy because he might be willing to sell.
Yeah.
And then he said, but he saw this thing on the internet. they literally listed it a few days ago. And then Hannes, you can carry on with that part of the story.
So we found this first unit that fell through. Then we found the old man's unit, and that fell through. And it literally 10 months after our first engagement with the owner to sell.
10 months.
We finally concluded a deal with him.
We concluded this deal directly with him without the estate agent.
Yeah. So initial contact, we went through the estate agent.
Yeah.
Then he waited until the estate agent's times lapsed.
Yeah.
We then engaged with him again, and it was a win-win for both parties. So he could get a better deal, and we could get a better price.
So Hannes,
Mm.
You know, in my way, I call finding properties farming. You know, so in my farming, I have met great estate agents. You know, that are just
Mm.
supportive of you, and they'll go to the length in terms of just creating to make the deal work for you.
Sure.
And it sounds like in this particular scenario, this particular estate agent was in it to make money for him alone, because the old guy really wanted to sell. When 10 months went by, he was ready to sell, and I'm sure what you guys offered then made sense to him, and it sounds like it wasn't making sense for the estate agent.
So okay,
Yeah.
now I think
So yeah, there's a bit of sorry. So we had this unit 6, which we initially put an offer in.
Yeah.
That was with the estate agent,
Okay.
and that initial deal fell through. Then we found unit 10, and the old man is living in that unit. We put an offer into that property. However, that fell through. And then the unit that we initially put the offer in, unit 6,
Yeah.
that then came back onto our radar, and we managed to conclude a deal on that.
Okay. So it was a bit of timing there. Okay.
Yeah.
yeah. So the property with the old man, it was just before transfer when it fell through. There was some issues with the bond and the business. He had 2 bonds in place, so it was a huge mess up actually at the end. And then so we cancelled the deal. We cancelled the deal we had to, because there was no other way of buying the property or assisting him. So, and then right when we cancelled it, this other owner from Unit 6 came back again and said, you know what, can we look at it again and maybe make another offer? The estate agent was off the picture because the mandate lapsed, and that lady that originally showed us the place resigned. So there was no link with the estate agent anymore.
Okay.
And then we actually brought our offer down from our initial offer by I think it was almost 40,000.
Really?
Which he accepted after he declined our first offer 10 months earlier.
I find you guys.
Yeah.
So how much offer did you put on this property? I mean, you don't have to tell us exactly the address, but in which kind of area was it, and how much did you guys pay for it?
So it was in Fontainebleau.
Come on, man. That's my backyard, man. What are you doing in my backyard?
Hey, you're playing in our backyard. We used to live there.
Yeah.
So, we put in an offer. We bought the property for 420,000.
420,000.
It's a 2-bed duplex, 100 square unit.
Okay, great.
Really nice. Yeah, really nice unit, spacious. And one of the big reasons we actually looked at this specific complex was there is so many different strategies that you can go with on them. So there's from a multi-let through to families, through to just flipping it. So we were very comfortable with this property because of the amount of options we had to our disposal to be able to make sure that if anything goes wrong, we've got an option B, C, and D.
So Hannes, you've been a little bit of a higher grade English to me there, brother. You went on to talk about strategies. You went on to talk about flipping. What's a strategy? If I'm looking at a property, what do you mean a strategy?
So I must say this was probably one of the things, one of the most valuable things I learned at the course. They go in depth in this, but basically what it is when you look at a property, you need to make sure that
this property is the opportunity at hand now. Like for instance, this Fontana Blue.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So looking at different ways that you can package or work on this property to make sure that if anything goes wrong, because 70% of the time you will need to relook at your initial idea of what you want on the property, and just make sure that if you are looking to buy the property to sell it on,
Yeah.
and
Is
that doesn't
what
work,
is that flipping now?
that will be flipping. Yes.
Okay, so you're buying it at 420.
At low, and you selling it high. Yeah.
Okay. In your guys' experience, is this investing?
It depends on where you are in your investing life cycle.
Yeah.
So again, we can go in depth in terms of how the cycle works into for investing, making money, gathering more money to go bigger, or to buy investing property to hold.
Yeah.
But initially, finding a property to sell off quickly to make some money, so you
Okay.
can then put that money into a second property, and
Yeah.
then start keeping it. So then it starts making financial sense.
Okay.
And then you start building, creating momentum for yourself.
Great stuff. Now, you also mentioned something about multi-let. What does that mean?
So multi-let is having a property
Yeah.
with a large space. So say you take your TV room and you divide that into additional rooms. Then you've got
Okay.
the house's room that's already been built, which is the 2 rooms as mentioned.
Yeah.
So effectively, you then go from a 2-bedroom flat to 4 bedrooms, but
Yeah.
keeping in mind that you also then want to make sure that people living in your unit do have sufficient space. So it's not capitalizing on people, but making sure that it becomes an affordable place to live in, where you can still manage the occupants inside the house. Otherwise, what happens is, if you don't manage that, and if you don't put procedures in place, you can end up with 7 people in your house, and then you're going to start having issues with the body corporate. You're going to start having issues with the actual, say your plumbing and all that kind of stuff. So it's very important to, if you do a multi-let strategy, that you do it responsibly.
I think
Cool.
there's what you also need to is your municipality bylaws, because there's some rules, how many people live in a unit, how many bathrooms there should be, which is important, so that you've got enough, like Anna said, there's enough, the plumbing, you're not overutilizing the plumbing, and people aren't living in unhealthy spaces and that kind of thing. And it's also important to know multi-let is not one family, it's various people living in their own rooms and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you guys have just indicated to us that if you're living within the law, there is options, and those options can be done within the laws. So you need to live within the laws, but you can still be making money, and you guys are thinking very different. So eventually you bought this property for 420, and did you guys renovate it? What has been the end result of the property now?
So when we initially put in an offer for this property, we were going to flip it. So that was our strategy, was to flip properties,
Yeah.
make some cash, and then start buying properties and holding them.
Yeah.
Then we bought this property, and the offer was for a flip. So we bought it very low. I think the owner wanted 590,000. We bought it for 420, like we mentioned. Then we started renovating it, and we spent more on the renovation than we initially, I think, planned to. because I mean, in the beginning, when you look at the property, you don't know what all the issues are. And then when you start the work, then you start realizing, oh no, there's a few things that you missed, and there's a few things that you wouldn't have known. And we ended up spending 90,000 rand on the renovation. However, we did a very nice job on the renovation. So we transformed this place. It's the nicest unit in the complex.
Yeah.
And then I don't know how it came about, but while we were doing the renovation, we thought, you know what, maybe we should rather just hold this one and start buying up the units and try to buy the whole block. So,
yeah, my man.
so we ended up keeping the property, and now we're renting it out for 7,700 rand.
7,000. And how much did you guys put into it?
So we ended up putting in 510,000, and it's 520 plus fees and so on. So and we're renting them out for 7,700. Okay,
good. So are you cash flowing on this thing?
Yes, we are. Yeah.
Okay, so just cash flowing just means that there is money coming into your pocket every month after all of your costs. So you're making profit out of this property. There is no money that you are paying into the property or to the bank, right?
No.
Great. High five, guys. I think this is a good one for me. And well done on this one. I'm really proud of you guys. Where you guys are going then? I mean, I heard you want to buy this block. I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
So obviously our next unit that we want to buy is the old man. We want to try and come around and hopefully buy his unit. It's just hopefully he can sort out his issues, but we'll pick up again with him and see if we might not be able to help him in some way. It's a complicated issue, so we're not sure if we will help him, but we're going to try nevertheless.
Yeah, and I just want to touch on the renovations again, and that was so a big learning that I personally had. But initially, as an investor, you need to look at every cent that you turn around and that you spend, because obviously the more you spend, the less your return would be. But it is so important to not do it as cheap as possible, to make it nice. People appreciate it. It doesn't matter who you going to put into the place. People appreciate that type of effort, and ultimately, you can increase your rent by doing that as well. So it might not be a immediate gain, but like over a 12-month period, you definitely that's definitely a win.
And if you do it right, you can especially with a low offer, with a low purchase price, you can actually spend a bit more with a renovation, because the renovation doesn't really decrease your return on investment that much.
Cool.
From a capital point of view, the initial capital point of view. And I mean, we budgeted 40,000 for the renovation, and we ended up spending more than double. However, our return on investment went from like a 15%. It went down to 13%. So we did give away 2%, but at the end of the day, we're getting the highest rent in the block, and we increased the rent from the highest one in the block by like more than 1,000 rand.
Well done, guys. This is quite impressive. I'm glad that this has turned out quite great, and I'm looking forward to the conversation of the blog. So I've just, in the last 6 months, I've just bought 2 blocks in Johannesburg, one in Cape Town. I'm actually seeing it this afternoon. We bought it, but I hadn't seen it. My partner who's out here has been managing that for me. So Nolan, that block, we need to buy it. Right. So in conclusion, guys, I'm going to give you 1 minute each. Can anyone do this? And how can they start? 1 minute.
Okay, I'll start. Anyone can do this. I think you must know, you have to know your why, and get some education at least. Try and find out, even if you're researching on the internet, reading books, podcasts. You don't have to go for a formal course. However, it does help.
Yeah.
And then just start with something every day.
Cool. I like that
look
part.
back
Every day.
Yeah, when you look back after a year, you'll see that you've come a very long way just by doing every single day, doing something. So progress every day.
Cool. Hannes, 1 minute.
Yeah, I think you can do it if you've got the drive and you do take action. Without that's the biggest thing that's going to either make you have success or not.
Yeah.
I agree 100% with what Nolan said. So do a half an hour a day rather than trying to do 2 hours once a week, because every day you just progress a little bit more, although it doesn't always feel like it. This is a long and hard road. Let's not sugarcoat it, but the satisfaction that you get of it, and if you keep on working at it on a daily and weekly basis, although it doesn't feel in the moment that you are making progress, if you look back within a year or so, you realize how far you've come, and the amount of offers you need to put in and calculations you need to do, and Saturdays and Sundays you need to go and spend to go and find properties and connect with people, talk, go to seminars, go to or listen podcasts, listen, networking sessions, all that. And also, find social media platforms that allow you to start being connected and reaching out. Find mentors that you can speak to. I think that was especially in the beginning, that was one of the biggest things. We were very lucky that we had a group of people that we could soundboard off. So if we had questions, we could say, listen, this is what's happening, or this is what's happening. This is our legal stance. What's happening here? And you get that information, and it's critical. You do need a structure. You can't go at it alone.
Cool.
My biggest thing, I would say, for success in my personal capacity is to have a business partner. Sometimes you don't have the motivation, and you fed up, and then the other person will say, come on man, no, it's not that bad, or I've just found something, and then the momentum catches on again. So
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, I think two people make it a bit easier.
Two people are better than one. Yeah.
For sure.
Cool.
And I think that's probably the big one.
Okay, great. So, gents, I'd like to thank you very much for your inputs. I think the time is not on our side, but we'll have to do this again at another time. But thanks a lot for coming through.
Thank you very much for the invite. People can also get our Facebook page at Value Prop Investments, and they can also give us a call or email.
Yeah.
But we can put that. Yeah. I don't know if you've got notes on the end of this.
Good. Thanks, guys. Cheers and God bless.
Thanks, DJ.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.